Welcome back to the third video. So now let's go through figures of speech. Firstly, what are figures of speech? Okay. Let me write down the definition for you. They are words, single words, okay, or phrases used in a non-literal sense for rhetorical or vivid effect. What does this mean? Okay, so firstly, you have to know that a figure of speech can be one word, a single word, or it can be a phrase, a group of words, and it's used in a non-literal sense. When we say it's used in a non-literal sense, that means the words don't mean exactly what they say. For example, when we say that that boy is a pig, okay, that is a figure of speech. Now, is the boy really a pig, an oink oink pig? No. But what we are saying is that he's as greedy as a pig. That's what we mean by a non-literal sense. The boy is not really a pig. He's a boy, a human boy. So when we use the word pig on the boy, we are not saying that the boy is a pig, but we are saying that he's as greedy as a pig. And why do we use figures of speech? Why do we use them? Okay, if they are for rhetorical or vivid effect. In other words, we actually use them to make our writing more interesting, and also sometimes to make what we want to say easier for other people to understand. So a figure of speech is a word or a phrase that doesn't really mean what it says, but they are used because they can make what we say more interesting, or they make what we say easier for others to understand. Okay, so that are figures of speech. That is a figure of speech. So that is a figure of speech. So there are actually many different types of figure of speech. If you were to Google it, you will find, like, you go to Wikipedia, you type in figure of speech, and you will find tens and tens, if not like more than 100 of them. But we will only cover the more common ones here. Okay. So the more common ones, actually we have done a couple of them before. There are similes. Okay, this is very common. Even primary 1 students do this, right? As fat as a pig, as good as gold, as easy as ABC, as cold as ice, as cold as snow. All these are similes, and similes, they are figures of speech. We did one in detail couple of weeks back, and it's metaphors. Okay, metaphors are very similar to similes in that they are used to compare two different things, but we would actually we compare similes and metaphors are used to compare two different things by drawing out a quality that is common to the two different things. For example, the earlier one we say, like, that boy is a pig. A boy is different from a pig, but we say that we call him a pig. Why? What is the common quality? They are both greedy. Okay, give you another example. My teacher is a witch, for example. Okay, my teacher is a witch. Now, likewise, do you really mean that your teacher is a witch? She knows magic, she can cast evil spells and curses? No. Teachers and witches, they are different things. And it's, when someone says that my teacher is a witch, I'm pretty sure the person doesn't mean that the teacher knows magic, black magic, and so forth. What he's saying is that the teacher has something in common with a witch, and I guess in this case he's trying to say that the teacher is evil, probably because the teacher is overly strict. Okay, likewise for simile. So when you say that someone is as happy as a lark, the person is not a bird or remotely bird-like, but they're trying to say that the person has the same quality as a lark, which is in this case happiness. Okay, so the two common figures of speech here, we have similes and metaphors. A third one that is also rather commonly used in primary school is personification. This is when you give an animate quality to an inanimate object. So for example, when you say the car growled angrily, okay, you're not trying to say that the car is not a living thing. It can't growl like a dog or a bear, but the sound that the engine makes when the driver is accelerating, it makes the car sounds angry, and it turns the car into a menacing object, into a dangerous object. Okay, so that's personification. When you give a life-like quality to a non-living thing. So the car growled angrily, or like the trees danced in the wind, trees dancing. These are examples of personification. A fourth one is hyperbole. Hyperbole essentially means exaggeration. Okay, for example, when someone say like my teacher yelled at me so loudly that you could hear her all the way in Jurong. Okay, let's say when your school is in like Changi, it's hyperbole. Is your teacher's voice really so loud that you could hear her in Jurong all the way from Changi? No, that is actually hyperbole, exaggeration. Or like when someone say I've reminded you 1,000 times. Okay, did that person really count the number of times he reminded you? No. So again, that's exaggeration, that's hyperbole. Okay, and the last one we will do today is irony, the last figure of speech. There are many types of irony, but the one that we are going to do here is actually sarcasm. Okay, or verbal irony. If I were to do the other types, I fear that this lesson will be too long, so let's keep it short and just use the type that we are using in the story today, which is sarcasm, which is when someone say one thing but he really means another thing. For example, if you walk past, let's say a beggar, and you give him 10 cents, your friend who is with you might say, wow, you are really generous. Does your friend really mean that you are generous? No, considering that these days when most people give to beggars, right, they give like $1, $2. So when you give 10 cents, you're being a bit tight-fisted. So your friend is actually saying that you're the opposite of generous. Or like when your friend did something that you think your friend shouldn't have done. For example, maybe your friend blurted out a secret, blurted out some information of yours that is supposed to be a secret, and then you say, wow, you are a great friend, man. Are you really saying that your friend is a good friend? No, again, you're saying the opposite, right? You're saying that you're a lousy friend because you gave away my secret. So that is irony, when you say one thing but you actually mean the opposite of what you say. Okay, so now let's come to the third part of this lesson. The words in red in the sample story. Remember when we were going through the sample story, there are some words that are in red. They are actually figures of speech. Now can you identify which type of figure of speech they are? Okay, let's go through the story, shall we? Okay, for this component, right, you can pause me before I give the answer and try and do it for yourself. What type of irony do you think this is? And then you can continue to play the video and see if you are correct. Okay, so the first one we have here as quiet as mice. I think this is quite straightforward. What do you think this is? If you had said simile, you'll be right. See, the word as tells us that this is a simile, right? As quiet as a mouse, as pale as a ghost, or as pale as a sheet, as clear as crystal. All these are similes. Okay, now in the second paragraph, some people might say that this helped their mother cook up a storm. They'll say that cook up a storm is actually a figure of speech. No, actually, to cook up a storm is actually an idiom, and an idiom is is different from a figure of speech. So take note of that. In the third paragraph, we have a couple. Okay, what's a masterpiece here? What figure of speech is it? Okay, was their painting really a masterpiece? No, right? In fact, it was a bit of a nuisance since they will have to clean it off. So we don't really mean it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. So this is actually an irony. Okay, sarcasm. Okay, next one. Like mice hiding from a cat. What do you think this is? Yes, the word like is like the word as quiet as mice earlier on. Now with like mice hiding from a cat. So if you had guessed that this was a simile, you are right again, okay? When you see the word like, as, these are clues that tell you straight away these are similes. They are figures of speech and they are similes. Okay, in paragraph 4, we have got this one. Beat. The agony beat into John's head. Past tense of bite. Okay, now only living things bite. Cats bite, dogs bite, even humans bite. Can a pain bite you literally? Does a pain have mouth and teeth? No. So in this case, what simile do you think this is? I'm sorry, what figure of speech do you think this is? If you had said personification, you are right. Giving a lifelike quality to a non-living thing. Okay, it's actually personification. In paragraph 5, we have one figure of speech. As colorful as the rainbow they had inked on the wall. What do you think this is? Yes, the word as again is a giveaway, right? So this is actually a simile. Okay, and you take note, this is actually not any simile, but it's an original simile. In a sense that if you were to get a guidebook and you flip through, I'm sure many of you have got English guidebooks, and most of these books, they actually have lists of similes. You will not find this simile in any of those guidebooks because this is a simile that's made up by me. And you know what? You can make your own similes. All the writers that publish books, they do that. Okay, if you were to actually read like books next time, pay attention. You will notice that writers, they tend to do that. They tend to create their own similes, and that is actually what differentiate like normal writing from good writing. Normal writing, yes, you throw in things that you can find from guidebooks, but when you develop your writing skills, right, don't be shy. It's like, and don't be hesitant. If you can actually come up with your original ideas, you use them. Never mind if you get it wrong, say in class, because that's how you learn, right? You learn from your mistakes. So I just want to highlight this idea to you. I bet some of you are already doing this, creating your own similes and metaphors. Well done for you. But for those who have not started doing so, let this idea take seat in your mind. You can actually create your own figures of speech. You don't have to use what's in the textbook only or what's in the guidebooks only. Okay, yes, from now to the PSLE is quite short, it's 2 weeks. So, if you don't feel that you are ready, you'll be able to do it by then, fine. Don't force yourself, just do what you have always been doing. But the thing is that, this is not going to be the end of English examinations for you. This is not going to be the end of English examinations for you at the PSLE. You will go on to secondary school, JC, you will still have writing examinations. So remember this, that you can create, you have the freedom to create your own figures of speech, your own similes, your own metaphors, okay? And when you have an idea, when you're writing, when something like this pops into your mind, use it. Okay, paragraph 6, there is actually one figure of speech there, like she had seen a ghost. Okay, when you see this, what figure of speech comes to mind? See the word like. Again, another giveaway. So this is a simile. Yes. Okay. Okay, last paragraph, paragraph 7. Okay, they were perspiring buckets. Okay, when you perspire, is your perspiration really enough to fill a bucket? Not really, right? So what sort of figure of speech would this be? This would be hyperbole. It's an exaggeration, right? We're just trying to say that, you know, they work so hard, they perspire a lot. When we say they perspired buckets. There's one that I missed out actually. This one. This one should have been colored red as well. So can you tell me how Faye regretted her brilliant idea? What figure of speech is this? Yes, it's actually irony, right? Sarcasm. Was her idea to decorate the walls with paint really a brilliant one? No, in fact, it was a bad one because they had to clean it off later, right? And tire themselves out. So it's actually irony. And the last one, the second last one, their earlier excitement fizzled out like a can of Coca-Cola opened and left overnight. Okay, this is actually well, I would like to claim that this is an original metaphor. It's not a metaphor. But firstly, let's identify it. What figure of speech is this? Yes, the word light tells us that this is actually a simile. Okay, as I was saying, I would like to say that this is actually an original simile that it came into me. But actually, I think I might have read it somewhere. You know, that's why you're always encouraged to read. Because sometimes when it's without the least warning, bits of what you have read will come to you, and they are actually forms of inspiration. They are ideas you can use in your writing. So no, I don't memorize what I read to be used in stories next time, but because when you read so much, you tend to store bits of information. So I might have read this somewhere. It is likely that I have read this somewhere and it was like at the bottom of my mind, and then when I was writing this story, it came and I used it. But to me, it's half original because I made the connection and I use it in this manner. Okay, last figure of speech that we have here: sleep whisk them to slumberland. Okay, what figure of speech is this? We are giving an animate quality to sleep, right? So then, okay, because whisking is an action that's only done by living things. So this would be a personification. Okay, so there you have it. One simple story, or one PSRE compo, and we actually use like about 10 figures of speech there, and you notice that they really make your story more interesting, richer, more fun to read. Okay, now let's move back to the last part for figures of speech. What we want to do, I will give you some examples of figure of speech, like for example, hyperbole. Okay. Example, I've told you a million times. Okay, you don't really count. And do you really tell someone something a million times? Or when we say someone is older, she's older than Methuselah. Now, Methuselah is actually a biblical character. I think one of the oldest characters, if I'm not mistaken, recorded to have lived until over 400 years old. So, in fact, there is actually a common simile. This is actually a normal a simile. There's a simile you can find in guidebooks, as old as Methuselah. When we want to say someone is very, very old, but here I actually, how should I say, change its use. I change it from a simile to a hyperbole. So when I say someone is older than Methuselah, it's obviously an exaggeration. Do people live to be more than 400 years old? No. But the point I'm trying to make is that she's really, really old. And another one, everyone knows that. Okay? You don't brush your teeth when you sleep. Now, everyone, in this case, can everyone really know something? All the people in the world? No. So again, it's hyperbole, exaggeration. Okay, examples for personification. For example, when you are writing stories whereby there are storms and you say the wind howled, that's actually personification, because howling is normally done by living things like dogs and wolves, okay? Or like in today's story, you can, for example, say their beds beckoned. You could have actually used this in the last paragraph. At the end of the day, their beds beckon. Beckon is to make a sign to ask people to go towards you. Can beds do that? No. But here we are trying to say that their bed actually looks very inviting because they were very tired. Okay. The sea sang a monotonous lullaby. Lullaby. Okay, this one, I think a few years back, there was actually a story done, a picture compo, PSLE picture compo, based on the beach, whereby a boy got his finger pinched by a crab. And if you had wanted to describe the seaside scene, you could have used this, okay, the sound of the waves pounding on the beach. You can say that the sea sang a monotonous lullaby. So these are examples of personification. Okay, let me give you examples of metaphors as well. We actually did this previously. I think I gave you a whole list of examples, but if you want more, I think this one was from the previous list. When you say someone has a heart of gold or a heart of stone, these are actually metaphors, right? Okay, a new one. When you say that someone is a beast, you're saying he's a horrible person. He's not like a person, more like an animal, okay? So that's a metaphor. Or when this is a common one. When people say time is money. Is time really money? No. But the thing is that what people are trying to say is you should be productive with your time. You should use your time wisely, because you can actually make good use of your time rather than wasting it away. I won't give you examples of similes because, as I said earlier, you can find them in any English guidebooks, okay? They are very common. I just want to highlight to you though, remember that if you can, create your own simile, especially those that are specific to your story. That would be the best. I also won't give you ironies because normally ironies are very long, okay? And they are also story specific. So I will not be covering examples of irony. But before I end the lesson, so just to highlight to you again, figures of speech are a very good way to show your command of the language. So in other words, they are a good way to help you score high for language. They make your story more interesting. They also make your language richer. So do try your best to add at least a couple of figures of speech into your stories when you are writing. That's all for this week. So next week, one more compo, and then after that is all the best for your PSLE. See you then.